Welcome, everybody. We are back with another amazing episode of Security Happy Hour. I am the Cyber Warrior. This is Cyber Warrior Studios, and you know how we do. So, I got to be honest. This show is for all of you. All right. This is my celebration party because of you, my warriors, my family. So, it's going to be an amazing episode. A lot of things are planned as far as it's Q&A, so I'm hoping everybody came with questions. We've also got a lot of guests that are going to be coming in and out. So, enjoy. And without further ado, give me about 10 seconds and we'll be right back. And we're back. And now, because we are back, hold on. There it is, the official sound of Security Happy Hour kicking off. And we are here. And so the first two to jump in this evening are my buddy, my brother, Griffin, and Bill Eck. And I did post the link in YouTube, so anybody on YouTube that wants to jump into the stream, feel free to jump on. You're more than welcome to join us. Otherwise, look, it's great having you guys here. The reason for this episode is we finally hit 4,000 subscribers on YouTube. Woohoo! Woo! So, first and foremost, though, I want two things to happen. I want any questions that you have, post them in the comments, put a Q before them. I'll save them. We'll try to get them answered as we go along. We do have more people joining us later on. I know Misha is supposed to be here, so hopefully more can join as well. Now, Bill, you and Griffin both, you were here before me, so I don't know who was here first. So we're just going to start with Bill because he's to my left. Bill, since you've been on, have there been any major changes to your situation? Like, what do you got going on recently? And, do you have any questions for anybody?
No, honestly, I've just kept studying. Like, I've kept going, and nothing major has changed necessarily.
Yeah.
I'm like 3/4 of the way through, like, the Tri-Hackney, what is it, the Cyber Defense 101. There's two of them. I'm through the first one, half or 3/4 of the way through the first one, and it's taken me forever. It's taken forever, but just keep on chugging along. Keep swimming.
And that's all you can really do. All right, it's a learning journey, and everything is a journey. It's, you make your own choices in life, and you figure out how you want to get, where you want to get to. And not everybody is going to go about it the same way. So as long as you keep pushing and keep growing, that's what's important. So it's good to see that you're still at it, though, because I know a lot of people at a certain point, they hit that brick wall and they're like, I'm done. Like, I can't do it anymore. I'm done. And I hate to see that. So that's kind of the purpose behind this show. And a lot of the other content I do is to keep you driven and keep you moving forward. So I'm glad to hear that you're still going. Griffin, what about yourself, man? What you got going on recently?
Oh man, just still doing the grind. I still work full time, and then still study here and there. Same thing, whatever it is I find. Tri-Hackney. Actually, just took a great training session this week from Anti-Siphon. So they had a really good. John Strand had a great class this week. I also took the another cloud class they had back in March. So yeah, I just keep finding stuff like that, and I share it as much as I can. So if you guys follow me on Twitter, I share it there, or LinkedIn. So
or the Discord server, Cyber Warrior Studios.
Yeah, I'm working on that too. I'm a creative robots, man. I'm just gonna start spamming that stuff. Yeah.
There is someone that does it for like all the stuff they share on LinkedIn. They share a post on there. I forget who it is, but there's like one or two people. And then we got Cybersec Danny that does the same thing. Anytime she puts out a video or whatever. I mean, everybody knows my server is free to people promote themselves, their content, training, you name it. Join the server. Everybody's putting something out. So I love having anybody share any of that knowledge, because that's what it's about, is giving people the opportunity to learn and grow. And hopefully it's free and or very minimal cost, just because I know that's the struggle a lot of people are finding today, is they can't afford to go to college, or they can't afford to take a boot camp, or something like that. So the free training that like KevTech IT support puts out, TCM is always doing like $1, pay what you can, that type of stuff. Black Hills InfoSec has a ton of stuff out there. So any learning you can get anywhere you can get it is very, very important. Before we go any further, though, I do want to say hello to all of the warriors in chat currently. We have hit 4,000 subscribers on YouTube, like I said earlier, which is why we're here today. Jack, Amanda, James, Giles, I'm gonna probably butcher his name. He's on LinkedIn. Carrie, Adrienne, she's gonna kill me. She's coming on next week, so who knows? Carrie, James, Natalie's here. Natalie, welcome to the party as always. And I hope I got everybody. But we do have a question. Our initial question comes from Carrie. And he's always trying to find something that works, and he's struggling a little bit. John Good in the house. John, we're celebrating 4,000 subscribers. You are more than welcome to join. Mary, hold up. You know what? We got more people jumping in here. Let's do this one more time. There we go. Anybody that wants to join, click the link that I just sent again. So we got Carrie. I have been throwing stuff against the wall to see what sticks. I have the A+ and have tried to do freelance with computer repair. Why can't I find anything for work? Ooh. I've got my saying on that, but Bill, Griffin, one of you want to chime in first?
I mean, you know, it sounds like you're trying to almost run a business and advertising. get your name out there, talk to people, make up some kind of a brand for yourself and start advertising, because if people don't know you're doing it, you know, they're not gonna use your services. So
yeah. If you're, you know, even if you're trying to, you know, do some consulting or trying to contract, you know, stuff like that, you know, it takes a lot. I mean, even somebody like myself that's been doing this for over 10 years, it still takes a long time, a lot of applications, a long time to find the right position, or even sometimes just to get a response, because they're getting so overwhelmed with so many applicants. So, you know, sometimes you just got to keep at it. You got to keep applying and keep trying, and eventually you'll find the right match.
Yeah, definitely. And that's one of the biggest things, right? A lot of people give up because they feel that heartbreak and they don't know how to deal with all of the rejection, because it's gonna continuously happen. And you know, one of the things about it is you have to be able to fight through that. And Carrie, I'm gonna knock you out if you keep talking like that. So we're gonna talk about it here in a second. But
no giving up.
It's a fight, and you have to continue to fight. And so your network is very vital. And Carrie is, you know, one of the ones that has a lot of branding that he's been doing. He's been promoting, you know, his training and things he's been doing and stuff like that. So it's just going to take time. And Carrie, I love you, man. You've been doing a lot of amazing things. You just got to keep at it. You cannot quit. Now, if you're just looking for a job, that way you can get to IT eventually or cybersecurity, then yeah, go work at, you know, Best Buy or, you know, Geek Squad or whatever, until you can get your foot in the door somewhere and you're still collecting the paycheck. But if you're literally able to survive without a job and can keep training and keep growing your network and keep branding, then that'll carry you further. And so it really comes down to where you're at financially and what you need to do. I know for myself, when I retired out of the Army, and even before I went active duty, I wanted to start a business, and I had been trying. I realized two things. One, I suck at cold calls because I refuse to do it.
I hate that. Yeah.
And two, I'm not really as much as I can do sales. I did it for a good portion until I went in the military. I don't like it. I don't like trying to sell someone something. You know, I like motivating people. I like talking to others. I like developing a rapport and just communication and that almost friendship between people. And so, yeah, me personally, as a salesperson, I couldn't do it. Not for my own business, because then I feel bad if like I'm hurting a friend. I'm like, oh yeah, it's going to cost you 10 grand. And at the same time, I'm like, is it really going to cost them that? Like, should I really be charging that? So yeah, it's just,
Yeah.
I was horrible at it. Like even computer repair, like when I did that, it was like, oh, $25 and I'll replace your hard drive. Sure. You just buy the hard drive. I'll replace it for $25. Like I used to do that type of thing. So it's difficult, but yeah, Carrie, I would get into a job and then keep working to get to where you want to be. And I'm gonna hide this comment now or this question because I do want to touch on something that I think we suffer from immensely here in the US. And that is when you're out of work, you will continuously apply to other places to try to get into that same field or that same position or a higher position. And then you'll go broke because you refuse to work a job that you feel is beneath you. So guess what? If you got to put food on the table, if you've got to keep a roof over your head, work whatever job you can find. Look, I'm all for you keep pushing, you keep driving, you keep going. But if you don't have a job, there are ways to make money without being in your career field. There are ways to work that'll bring in funding so that you can keep a roof over your head. So here in cybersecurity, you want to do cyber, that's great. I'm all for it. Let's keep up the drive, the determination, the passion. But you might, if you're not getting your foot in the door and you really got bills to pay, you might want to go work somewhere else until you can get your foot in the door. And you're just gonna have to grind, and it's gonna suck, and your mental health is gonna suffer. Don't get me wrong, the burnout is real, but until you get to where you want to be, where it'll make you happy, you're gonna have to push through. You really are.
Yeah, especially
push through.
Yeah, especially when you're starting out. You really got to take. I hate to say it, but you got to take what you can get. You know, when I was going to school, when I first got out of the military, I went back to school, and you know, I literally took contract jobs that were like, hey, you're going to move these computers around and these desks around for Yelp. And I was like, what? That's stupid. Okay, whatever. Like, you just want me to move computers around the same building. Okay, whatever. You know, and it's stupid crap like that. Like, just sometimes you just got to take whatever you can get. Then I took an analyst job. You know, you just got to take whatever you can get, and you keep applying. And then, you know, eventually that opening will come. You know, you'll get into a knock or whatever you're trying to get into, and you know, you just got to keep pushing. But yeah, I mean, the average is 6 months. The average is 6 months, and sometimes it's longer.
Yeah, definitely. And on that note, you know, when I retired out of the Army, and I'll just be honest, I retired with like 4 SAN certifications, my CCNA Cyber Ops, my CCNA. I have more letters after my name than a lot of people do. And yet it still took me 6 to 8 months to find a job in security. And you want to know what my original starting salary was? $60-some thousand a year. It was like $62,000. So for all these people breaking into cybersecurity that are like, oh yeah, I'm going to make 6 figures. Homie, you better humble yourself and realize you might have to start out at the bottom. That's going to be nothing. Even my second job only started me at 90-some thousand. So I did not break 6 figures for a few years after retiring and having certifications. And I even had my CISP.
Took a few jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to humble yourself and really understand that it's going to take a while. But before we keep going, I do want to welcome, hold on, it says Misha and Christine. What's going on, friends? How you doing? You're muted. Yeah.
Sorry, my dogs are barking, so we're hiding outside, but they're trying to get out the house, so we're going to keep muting it every once in a while.
Yep. So how are y'all doing today?
Good.
So who's Christine? We've never met Christine here.
Hi.
No. So Christine's my friend. I've been friends with her since I was like 2 years old.
Yeah, I used to babysit Michelle.
Oh, geez. Oh, I'm sorry. He's a handful.
But we're both working on this. Sorry,
what
go
was
ahead.
That?
I was going to say we're both working on the same
track
bachelor's degree.
Okay.
Nice.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome. Misha, by the way, I love your hair. That is awesome.
Thanks.
I haven't seen you.
The camera adds like 20 pounds, so I'm just gonna like
Get out of here. Shut up. We need to admire the green hair. I'm just saying, you got to stay in frame.
Yeah.
Yes, that is Misha. Sacred goddess, because I still can't pronounce your name until you come on in like 2 weeks. She's going to rip me a new one. So, Christine, as someone that's going for the same degree as Misha,
Yeah.
what struggles have you found just learning the industry and learning the field?
I kind of feel like I don't know anything, you know, even though I'm in my second year, I still feel like I'm a total newbie to everything.
Yeah.
Because there's just so much information that they cover so quickly. And then I feel like, you know, in IT, it's so vast that I feel like I have to know everything, even though I know I don't. So I'll start to get distracted. I'm like, oh, what's that shiny thing over there? And start learning that, you know, and I feel like, do I need to learn all of the CompTIA books and, you know,
So
everything?
you suffer from ADH squirrel like the
That's-
rest of us.
Like, yeah, we're all in the same boat. Don't worry.
That's really what it is.
You know, and
it's
like,
ADH squirrel. You can't even finish it. It's ADH squirrel.
Yeah. You know, like
Quarter of the
Jeremy
way through a
Crow,
book and you're done.
I'm like shiny sparklies.
If I can make it through like 3 chapters of a cyber book, I'm doing good for myself at that point. Like, that's a good day.
I've got like half a dozen books that I can look, and it's like they're all between 23 and 28% done.
Listen, I can read the content of every book.
Yeah.
Like just the page, the glossary.
If there's
but
not an audiobook, it's not getting finished.
We're not going to talk about my collection of digital and physical books. That's
It's bad
No.
for me. Which is
Yeah,
crazy
physical
because like
books.
fiction I can read. Like I will
Yeah.
read, I get immersed in it. Like literally it consumes my entire. When you talk about hyper focus, you look at the Harry Potter series, Lord of the Rings, Percy Jackson, any Rick Riordan book. I can give you a slew of like magic and fantasy books that have consumed my entire existence. But you give me learning books, they always throw out a new topic where I'm like, oh, shiny, I want to learn this now.
Yeah.
And I'm
Right.
like, I can't, I just can't.
You know, and I'm right now taking a Python class, but I learned C
nice.
a while back. So this class, I'm just kind of like, oh, this isn't really developing. It's already
It
done.
can
for
be.
you.
It can be.
Python is so much better. Learn Python.
Python is English friendly
Yeah.
and
I
reading
love
friendly.
Python.
It is not
Yes.
programming. Well, I say it's programming. It's not programming friendly. If you learn like C, C++, and your other object-oriented languages earlier, because then you're confused.
Yeah.
Because like
writing and
a million lines of code in C, you can write the exact same thing in about 10 lines in Python.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so much friendlier. Yeah.
Yeah. And which I appreciate, because then a lot of what I'll be doing is reading other people's code. So it, you know, will be a lot easier and faster. And
Well, isn't that what everybody does? We just steal code. We don't write our own.
Right.
Stack Overflow for the win. Or these days, screw it, go to Chat GPT.
I was
It's
going to
like,
say, yeah,
I
Stack
need
Overflow is going away.
Right?
Yeah.
Give me a Python script that will do this. That.
Yep.
All right, cool.
yeah.
But then remember, you gotta put your comments in, because
Right.
if you don't comment your code, I want to slap you. I have literally looked
Yep.
at code with no comments, going, "What are you doing? I don't even know what you're trying to do here."
Yeah.
And then you actually got to clean it up, because a lot of times they don't give you the most efficient code. Just saying. But that's Stack Overflow also. They don't always give you the
Well,
most
that's the
efficient.
same when I learned C. I
It's a
would write
DOS.
something and then look at it weeks later and have no idea what I was looking at if I didn't put comments.
Exactly. Yeah.
So-
Sometimes the comments are for yourself. Yeah.
I've done that. Hold up. Time out. I have a GitHub repo out there to this day that I was building a GUI for Kali Linux, and by that I mean I wanted everything in one click point, put in the IP address, it would do anything you told it to. You didn't have to know any commands, you didn't have to know any switches. Just tell it what you wanted to do, and it would do it. And I started it. I got the GUI built semi the way I wanted. And then I like stepped away from it, and I commented my code. But then I went back to it and read my own comments and was like, I still don't understand what the hell this does. Like, had I finished it, it would have been golden. But I didn't finish it. So literally looking at it, I'm going, hey, it's Python like 2.7, maybe 2.6 when I started it. And I'm like, none of this will work now. But beyond that, what does this do? There's comments that tell you what it's supposed to do, but I don't know how to fix the commands to make it do what I want.
I take notes like when I'm doing my CompTIA Security Plus Udemy class.
Yeah.
And I'll go back through like a couple days later and I'm like, nope, don't know what I was talking about. I can't even read it half the time. It's scribbling so bad.
And I'm not sorry. I just go, okay.
Nope. Hopefully I got the idea because the notes aren't going to help.
I'm horrible.
I'm the same way. I handwrite everything. Like that's how I learn, is just writing stuff out. So pages.
Well,
it's a good reinforcement method. Yeah,
it is. You learn by writing, and so for everybody that types, and I'm guilty of it. I will type notes. I will go open up OneNote or Cherry Tree when I was doing like my OSCP and stuff, and type things out. But I didn't necessarily learn that way. And what I find is in school, I always learned because I was forced to write. You see, unlike kids of today, me and I'm sure everybody here growing up, you didn't have a computer, a phone, a tablet, or anything. You literally were writing shit down, going, okay, so X plus Y equals this, and we're going to write it all down and figure it all out. And so it helped reinforce it. Now with Chromebooks and iPads and phones and everything else, it's brutal. Oh, someone else came and joined the party. Brad Proctor is in the house. Hey. What's going on, homie? Oh, let's change the background a little bit. There we go. Now we have the logo up there since, I got enough people here that will actually split the screen wide enough. Oh, man. But yeah, so it's crazy writing stuff down. And then what you do is you have to teach it. That is the final step in the learning process, is to teach it. Yeah. Because if all you do is write it down and take some notes or whatever, you kind of miss out. But if you teach it, then now you're reinforcing the idea and you're learning more. Because sometimes when you teach it, you learn more than what you originally understood. And Misha, I'm really getting tired of you hiding yourself, damn it. You better put yourself on camera. Everybody's asking for your green hair and mohawk and amazing self to be on camera.
It takes a lot for me to be in front of the camera because, I mean, I've said it in the chat, but like I am in the process of, like losing weight and
I know we've had conversations.
I am trying. So everybody, simmer down.
So keep showing up every so often. We got you. We love you. Brad, how you been, man? It's been a while since you've been on.
It's almost been a year, actually. Been good. Damn, it has been good. 4K.
So, dude, it took me a while. I'm trying to get the 5,000 before October 1st. So that means I need all of my warriors to start sharing shit and letting people know where to find us, because that's what it takes. Honestly, I can only do so much. I'm not as good looking as some people, so I need others to be like, oh yeah, you actually want to listen to him. You don't have to look at him. You just want to listen. Like I really need that love. But yeah, I'm trying to hit 5,000 before October 1st. So hitting 4,000 a day. I was literally on my way back from New Jersey because I was at a Titanium conference in New York yesterday. So I was on my way back from New Jersey. And I was like, pulled up YouTube Studio, and it was like 4,001. And I was like, oh, we doing something big today. Let's go.
When do you get a plaque? Like, when does YouTube send you a
you should send your beard out to do all the hard work for you. Look, my wife made me cut it down. I mean, this is like short for me. I'm not happy with it. She got mad at me. She's like, you really need to trim that. And so I go talk to the stylist, and she was like, I'll cut about an inch off. I didn't realize how big an inch was. It was too big.
Well, you know.
No, too much gone. Too much gone. In my beard, an inch is a lot. No, no.
You cut half your beard off. That's not cool.
That's about what it was. About what it was. Looney Tunes, you better spare some damn time. I know who you are. Me and you gonna be fighting. So Brad, what you been up to, man? What's work got going on and things like that?
It's been fun doing a lot of maritime work of recent.
Oh yeah.
And so maritime cybersecurity. It's a completely different world.
I believe it. Maritime's a little wild. Oh, here we go. James put in here. I broke down and brought out the sticky notes pen and started making notes in the Hunting Cyber Criminals book on OSINT. It does help.
Nice.
So, Brad, we've been talking about written notes and writing things down. Do you prefer writing things down, or do you take the IT cyber way like I tend to do, even though it doesn't work, and type up notes and things that are going on?
If I were to write it down, I can't read it. So I type it because then I can read it.
Man.
So no, I do not write it down.
Dude, I can read my own writing, but that's because I write in all caps. Like lower caps, little caps, but all caps. Like my writing is legitimately all capital letters. And so it's funny when people are like, oh, you got to write this. Or they're like, hey, you got to use cursive. And I'm like, I can do cursive, but it's going to take me about 30 times longer than just writing it out in capital letters and just making it flow for me.
My daughter's learning cursive right now, and I'm like, hold on, I got to Google this and figure out what to. Yeah, it's. Or when she's trying to get me to spell some big word for her, it's all bad. It gets Googled.
It is. Dude, I've Googled math. I love math. I know numbers very well. Most people, I won't say all people, but most people in IT and cyber are really good at math. And it had been years since I touched algebra. And my son came to me and was like, hey, how do I find the slope or this at the third of this? And I was like, to the Google.
I love math until my nephew was asking me how to do something, and I was like, 10 plus 10 is 20. But you just add it. And they're like, no, you have to do this, and you have to go this way. I'm like, this isn't math anymore. Like,
right.
It's the most confusing thing I've seen in a long time. The way that.
But I feel that way about programming languages. I do. I feel that way about programming, about cyber. Like there are certain things that like people will do and companies will do, and I'll be like, it was so much simpler to just do it this way. And they're like, oh yeah, but you do this, and then you use this regex code, and then you do this, and then you do that, and then it gets to here, and you're like, I don't get it. How'd you get that?
See, and that's the problem that I think we're both having is, she knows a little bit more about programming, but I don't know anything about programming. And just going through my courses right now, like my next course that I go through is networking, I think. And they just sort of throw you in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't understand any of this. And then you go down the rabbit hole, and that's where I start getting overwhelmed. Like, what do I need to do to just not overwhelm myself and not get too far off the topic that I'm learning at the time? But then what am I going to need in the future? So I'm not stepping backwards either.
How much of it is actually relevant to the work we'll be doing?
Right.
Yeah.
Just this enormous amount of information at you, and you're like, what? I remembered protocol.
Yeah.
Or 443.
Yeah.
Got it. So all right. Once again, if you have questions, please put them in chat. Put a cue before them so that I can actually recognize questions and not just comments. But it was funny because John put up here as we're talking, and we did mention ChatGPT earlier. Who needs the program anymore? If you have the correct information, then ChatGPT will solve all the problems, which is actually pretty hilarious because there's a lot of issues with ChatGPT that people don't realize. Mainly, it does store your information. If you give it the right question, it'll actually spit back everything it has on you. Which is interesting.
If you ask it, like, are you Skynet? I mean, it responds amazingly fast with no. I mean, it's like,
No.
faster than I can enter. It's responding with that, which is hilarious.
Oh yeah, Brad. What about you? What's your take? So we haven't had this conversation on this show yet. So Brad, as the newest one here, what is your take on ChatGPT?
So in my world, so I live in the compliance world. The current data set is about 2 years behind, or it's behind. And so if you ask it any compliance questions, a lot of times it's off because it's out of date. So one thing that I've discovered it can do is if you have information, you can tell it to summarize something for you. If you tell it to summarize, it kind of gets it in a little bit shorter format. You can summarize, give me bullet points, give me key topics.
Right.
Do mundane work for you, in other words.
I ain't gonna lie, my extent of using ChatGPT was I got tired of using Google and went there and said, give me some Norse quotes that I can use for motivation. And it gave me stanzas from the Havamal and a few other things. That was my extent of ChatGPT. But my buddy did a lot of other digging, and that's how I found out it actually stores your information, even though it says it doesn't. Misha, Christine.
Yes.
What is your feeling on ChatGPT? What have you noticed? Have you played with it at all? Have you logged in, used it, anything like that?
Never used it.
No.
I know of it, but I've never used it. I've watched people use it, but it's not something I need to look at yet or even think about. So I'm actually I am that person who is worried to try something that I don't know if it's like the try hack me stuff that you sent me. Like I haven't even touched it yet because I am like
Misha.
I know.
I was wondering why only one person used the code so far.
I can do it tonight. But I don't know what any of it is. So it's that concept in my head, like, am I wasting my time signing up for something and doing something right now when I don't know the information, or will I learn from it?
You will learn. So I will say this, and first I'll mention John Good's comment. ChatGPT is a learning computer. Enter Terminator. He's not wrong. Skynet's coming. Don't get it twisted. But as far as try hack me, and this is why I've given others that are brand new to the field the codes as well. And I'm glad a lot of brand new people want them, is because it is meant for you to start at the bare minimum of knowing little to nothing. Like, you want Linux basics, it has a whole core courseware that you can go through for Linux basics, and it explains it to you and you can go through it. Actually, one of the things I might look at is Over the Wire and see if they have any gift codes or whatever for so that actually I think it's all free. I don't know.
I thought it was free. Yeah.
I know some of it's free. I'll have to look, because if you do Over the Wire, you literally learn everything about Linux as far as basics go. Bandit is the one you want to do.
And stuff.
Well, they have different ones, but Bandit will get you all the way up through like SSH and a few other things. But yeah, try hack me. You pick your room. You want to do Linux basics? There you are. It literally every flag is about the basics.
Well, sorry, there's a train running behind us. Well, see, that's the thing. Like, when every Friday when I'm watching everything, like, you should see the notebooks that I have sitting in the house, like, whether from people that are on or what you guys have thrown in the chat of like just things to look at or things that you guys have used. But it's one of those. There's so much stuff. It can be like you guys talk about it, but none of us, I don't think, that are in the beginning stages would know what we are able to jump into and learn from. And that's where it's hard. Like
narrow.
And Googling it makes it feel overwhelming.
Okay. I don't disagree. I got a friend right now. She's in the chat. I'm not going to say who she is, who's struggling from the same thing, right? Just breaking in, doesn't understand the acronyms, doesn't understand what's being said. Because even in some of these basic courses, they'll throw out like TCP/IP.
Right.
Well, what the fuck is that?
Right.
What the fuck is TCP/IP? And so that is where, and Natalie said it. Amanda, I was not trying to call you out, damn it, but okay. It was Amanda. I love her to death. It is her. She's my sister. I love her. But Natalie said that's where mentors come in to help you. And yes, that is where someone like myself, Griffin, Brad, Natalie, John Good, and so many others will come to you. You can come to us and just ask us questions. What does this mean? What does this mean? What does this mean? Okay. I have no problem answering those questions for two reasons. First, it means you've already decided you're going to dig in and learn, and you're asking for an explanation. I can give you that.
Right.
The second thing is you're not asking me, how do I get into cyber? Like, if you ask me how to get into cyber, I'm going to lose my shit 9 times out of 10. Because it is a vast career field. You've not done your research yet, which means you're already behind the 8 ball, because research is the primary focus of cybersecurity. Yeah. So that is why I say, if you're going to come to me and ask me a question about a topic or about an acronym or about, can you explain this, all day. But if you ask me something as broad as how do I get into cyber, I'm like, where have you done your research? Any research?
Password stronger than 1, 2, 3, 4.
Right?
Like, just saying.
Hey, look. Hey, password 1, 2, 3 works great. Never.
I think a better question is like,
slap you.
No. A better question would be like where to start, because you could search cybersecurity on Google or on YouTube, and I mean you're just gonna get a ton of information, and it's like.
See, I think even that question is loaded though. Where do I start? Because if you like, I came in knowing that not what type of thing I want to do. Like last week when I was asking about, like open source and offensive versus defensive, et cetera, et cetera. But I know that I've worked in healthcare for so long, so more than likely I'm going to stay in healthcare. So,
right,
like it goes to that: do I want to stick towards, more like ethical hacking and stay on this side of things? Do I want to stick in more of the analysis side of it? So that's why I think it's still this where to start is a little bit, because it's still so much information.
So, and this is where Misha, me and you need to have a further conversation. Me and you actually have to have a talk, because where Amanda lucks out, and she put it right here, I'm the one that discovered where she should be going into the field because of where she specializes and what is she is really good at. So I was able to talk to her and be like, yeah, you should really do this, because I knew what she was doing. I knew what she was good at. And it just resonated with what we do in this industry in a certain sect of red teaming. And so for you, I think me and you and even Christine or Bill need to have further conversations on what's going to resonate. What are you doing now that could potentially lead to a future career? Because I think those that are just getting started, that's where they struggle, is they don't know. Because even if you know every area out there, you don't really understand every area out there. So trying to figure out where to go is like, let's throw a dart. I'm blindfolded and just throw it.
Well, and like what you guys mentioned the past few weeks too is finding out where to go, but also finding out where to go when you are already in a field. Like I've been a pharmacy tech for 8 years now. So it's one of those, I can't afford to step away from my career that I'm at, even though I'm in a career change mode. And then I go, and we are actually just talking about it earlier, like I've got, be proud because I reached out to somebody. I reached out to a cybersecurity manager at the clinic to say, hey, can I just sit with you and get some information about what it would take to transfer from a pharmacy technician, just a basic position in the clinic. And it's one of those, like, because, if nobody knows anything and they don't have a job, maybe IT help desk just to get in the door.
Yeah.
Well, I've already got the healthcare experience, so where can I move into to build onto that. And that's where I'm
Definitely.
stuck at.
Yeah, and then also, once I finish this degree, is a bachelor's degree enough on a resume for somebody to give me a chance? You know what I mean? Or should I be trying to get certifications as well?
So herein lies the problem, and Griffin and Brad could speak to this for sure, both of them. Bill is still trying to break in as well, so I'll allow him to have his input as well. But for me, I'm hiring a senior person right now at Stratascale, where I work currently. I'm a practice manager. I'm hiring a senior person, and I had an HR person come to me, and there was like 3 of them, and they said, "Okay, so what should we be looking for?" And they said, degrees, certifications, da da da. Now I know what I'm looking for. I'm looking for someone with a certain set of experience.
Right.
And unfortunately, at this point in time, it's with a certain product. And I was like, look, I need someone with this product experience that can do this, because this is where we're closing deals. This is where I got business. So this is what they need to have. They said, well, what about degrees and certifications? I said, I don't give a damn. I don't. I'm at a senior level. At a senior level, which is what I'm currently hiring for, I don't care about your degrees and certifications. I care about your experience, because you can be certified in something and never touch it again. Hello, I've got a Grem and I haven't reverse engineered malware in probably since I got the certification. So the certification means nothing to me. What means something to me is what you've done recently. Now, as a junior, as someone just breaking into the field, what a degree and or certifications or your LinkedIn or your YouTube channel or your blog show me is you're willing to learn. You're willing to grow. That is what matters to me. So if you don't have a degree, if you don't have certifications, you better have something else out there that shows me you're willing to do the work to get into the field. And certifications aren't everything. Let's be honest. Most of them are memorize this shit, answer some multiple guess questions, and you got certified.
Right. It doesn't, like on the job, real world experience is going to teach you a hell of a lot more than any certification will. But if you have had 0 experience and you're trying to get that job,
that paper gives you that baseline knowledge of being able to do it. But for starters, I'll let Brad chime in first. Brad, we're gonna go solo with you. Go ahead, give your feedback, man. Let people know what you think about juniors and how they can kind of break into the field.
So one thing is, I've hired several juniors on my team, and the one of them in particular, very very young. Now he had the advantage of starting in cybersecurity in high school and doing Cyber Patriot. And the one thing that stuck out is his networking. And I don't mean technical networking. I mean people. His ability to talk to people, to understand, to empathize with the individual they're talking to is a huge skill on the soft skill side that people ignore. If you have that, and if you have all the other parts where you're showing you're willing to learn, you're showing enthusiasm, you're reaching out and asking for help, that goes a very, very long way. Now, certifications, they do help. Again, it shows that you, one, persevere to get something, and then you achieve it, right? Any organization you go to, if you go to one security operations center and you work there, they're going to teach you their way. If you go work for another one, they're going to teach you their way. While it's somewhat similar, there's different processes in each company. So you're going to learn on the job. So it's kind of a mix, but I would say continue to stick your neck out there, like just getting on things like this, getting yourself recognized, talk to people, and ask questions.
Awesome.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree with that. And I'll give my input as to what you said after I let Griffin go for someone who has been in the field for a while. Please, my brother, go ahead and speak your piece.
Yeah, I agree with that. Sometimes there are a lot of people that are doing that, unfortunately, that are getting the degrees and they don't have the experience. And so sometimes it's a combination of the degree plus experience. Like we said, certifications can help. It's definitely not a requirement, especially for junior roles. going the extra mile. We'll say that. We've talked about that before, right? Doing the tri-hackneys, writing a blog post about it, proving that you're willing to get some experience outside of just what your degree gave you. Because again, even a degree is mostly theory in a lot of cases. So, can you show a little bit of extra, hands-on knowledge? The more experience and whatnot that you can show is going to give you that advantage against other applicants.
Yeah, most definitely. I completely agree. And so this is what I tell a lot of people is networking is key. And Amanda is funny because she said there's another to add to my small list, social networking. Amanda, you got a lot going for you that you don't realize. I mean, you have talked about it. So we're going to continue to build on your skill set, and we're going to get you to where you need to be. But, for me, networking has always been clutch. It's how I've gotten a lot of jobs. That's what people don't realize. Everybody's like, oh, I applied to 1 million jobs. Look, the first job I got out of the Army, I got because I kept applying and I had the certifications to kind of get in the door, and I was able to do the job. I didn't like the job. I didn't like what it had to do with. I had a bunch of issues. From the time I got the job until I got a new job, I had been applying other places. Because of my networking is why I got the second job. Because whenever I got a call from a recruiter, was like, hey, we want to interview. We got a company that wants to interview you for this. The director already says he knows you. What's his name? Or her name? Like who's the director? And they're like, oh, it's so and so. And I was like, all right, let me figure out how I know him. And I looked him up, and I was like, oh, yeah, I talked to him for like 6 months. From the time I knew I was retiring from the Army until I retired, me and him had been talking. And so I was like, all right. So I passed the first interview, got the job. And then as I was there for a year and a half, I think it was maybe year and a half to 2 years, he had hit me up and was like, hey, I got a job for you. Same director. I got a job for you. Do you want to do it? It's going to pay you X amount of dollars. You're going to be able to do offensive security and pen testing. Is this what you want? Bet. Let's go. Got that job. Where I work now, he is my boss once again. So networking is key because you find these people, and if you put yourself out there and you work for them, they will take you everywhere they go. And 9 times out of 10, because they're higher than you, that means they're getting paid more, which means when they get into a place, you're getting paid more because they're going to bring you up to get paid what you're worth. Yeah. They're not going to bring you in at base level. They're not going to bring you in at the bottom. And so that's how you have to go about it. Networking, social networking, LinkedIn, all this is key in your career. And that's why. That's why your brand is so important. Because had I not been doing this show, had I not been doing so much, I don't think I'd be where I'm at today. But people know me now because I put my name out there. I don't hide. Like some people. Misha.
Yeah. Yeah, and LinkedIn is a great resource. Utilize it. It's free. I mean, utilize it. There's people like David Meese that I think at least weekly, say, hey, comment on this and, connect to all these other people.
Dave Meese, Chris Cochran, Kevin, KevTech IT support, all these people comment on this and connect. I do it every so often. I'm really bad about the LinkedIn follow Friday type of deal. Normally, I still stick to my motivation. But yes, that is.
I wake up on social Saturday and I'm like, no, I'm going back to bed.
Dude, my Saturdays are my Saturdays. I'm like, nah, you're lucky if I post on a weekend. On a weekend, I'm like, I got family. No, I'm good.
You got to have your time.
Right? Yep. So we do have a question here, and I want everybody to answer it. So we're going to start with Bill, and then we're going to go around the horn. Would y'all recommend things like tri-hackney over home labs or the other way around? Bill, I'll let you start.
D, all of the above.
Yeah.
I like tri-hackney, like it makes it easy because it's already all set up, but then home labs, like you learn a lot when you gotta figure out all the mistakes you made setting it up. So they're both equally as good. I mean, the more you do, the better.
Definitely. What about you, Misha and Christine?
Well, I just learned what TriHack Me actually is today. So
Yeah, I didn't
um,
realize that TriHack Me started at such a basic level until today.
They used to not
Yeah.
to.
Really exciting.
Right.
Yep, they used to not to. So they have expanded. I love what Hack the Box does, but TriHack Me was first to the game to be like, we're gonna do basics, we're gonna do the bare minimum, and build our way up. So
it definitely is something I see all over like the people that I follow on LinkedIn and everything. A lot of TriHack Me. They push and they comment about it a lot. So
yep, definitely worth it. But I agree with Home Labs too. That's why I push KevTech so much, because he
Yeah.
teaches people how to build their home labs,
Yeah,
how
I like
to build Active Directory infrastructures, how to do all these things, how to be in support. Because let's be honest, to get into cybersecurity, it's not a necessity to start in help desk or system administration, but it is extremely beneficial.
Yep.
It's not necessary, but it's beneficial. So take that for what it's worth. Brad, we're going to go to you. What about you? What's your take on this?
Being the IT guy originally, I'm gonna have to. I'd have to lean on Home Lab, but TriHack Me definitely is a good resource. And Home Lab, this might put some age on me, but having that physical touch of an actual infrastructure, it makes a difference. Because it's somewhere. If we say serverless, guess what? It's running on a server.
Right, serverless still running on a server. It's still on. What are you
It's
putting
just
it on?
somebody else's computer. Yep.
Right,
Magic.
where is it?
Probably had to Google that the first time you heard it because you're like, wait a minute, that doesn't.
real word.
It's floating somewhere.
Web 3,
Right,
what are
it's
you
just in
talking
the
about?
ether.
Wow, right there.
It's
See
just
it.
code out there somewhere.
Pull it out of the cloud.
And I think Bill
Griffin,
had
what
a great
about-
point, right? If breaking things and then figuring out what you did. I mean, that's troubleshooting 101, right?
Yeah.
But even if you're doing where you're doing red teaming, it comes back to the same concept, right? You tried something, it didn't work, okay, try something else.
Yep.
Yep.
Griffin, what about you, man? What's your answer to this question?
Yeah, it's again, it's D. It's all of the above. I think, like we said, TriHack Me's come a long ways. They've got a lot more basic intro stuff now. So you can start out with TriHack Me. You know, you can learn some of the basics. You know, of operating system, networking, all that stuff, and then you go build it. And I think that's the best of both worlds.
Definitely. Nothing beats hands-on. And on that note,
Yep.
so I did a demo qualification with Tanium yesterday. And I can sell it. I know the technology. I know what it can do. But I had never touched the software before in the extent in which you need to get qualified. Now, whether or not I get qualified is neither here nor there. I don't know if I'm going to pass it. So, yes, failure is possible even when you're experienced in the industry. Just so y'all are aware, you can still fail. But I told him, and the guy was like, look, I'm going to try to get you to pass, but I don't know if it's going to happen. I was like, yeah, that's fine. Like, I get it. But hands-on keyboard is clutch because I can learn anything by touching it. Let me deploy it. Let me play with it. Let me figure things out. But if you tell me I got to get certified from reading a computer screen and looking at images or videos, it's not going to happen. I'm going to look at it and I'm like, squirrel. Like it's just not going to register with me. So hands-on keyboard is huge. So we'll see what happens. I don't know if I'm gonna get demo qualified. I'm hoping I do. So then my team can have a lab to play with, but we'll find out. Next question or comment rather. Well, it's a question too. If someone is hacking on your bug bounty program and brings it up in an interview, would in your mind be a bonus or a minus? Anyone who wants to answer. So, Brad, you're part of a hiring team. What do you think?
I think it's a bonus. I mean, I don't see any negative with that at all.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I mean, I think for all of us that are hiring managers or in a position to like even interview people, if you're coming at us and you're trying to figure out our flaws, I take it as a bonus. I take it as you're trying to learn, you're trying to go, and you're trying to break in. And we have an active program out there that says, hey, give it a shot. Tell me what you can find. What I will say to this though is if you point that out, I'm probably going to ask you what you have tried. I am probably going to ask you what what tools you've used, how you've tried to go about it, solely because I want to know kind of your knowledge base and where you're coming from it at. If you don't have, if you're just like, oh, I use this tool, okay, well, why?
Right.
If you can't give me the why, that's when I'm gonna be like, I need that why. Why SQL map? Why, this, that, or the third? Then we can have a conversation. But if you're just like, oh, well, because I Googled it and it said use this on this, type of prompt. Why? What does that?
Right. I want to know you understand it. Yeah, not just throw a tool at it. I want to know you understand. Yeah.
Yep, definitely. So yeah, it's a bonus as long as you can explain it. Now I will say this though, Misha, Christine, Bill, and myself, Griffin, and Brad, you have 3 seniors of the industry here. What questions do you have?
Oof.
Pick one.
Put you on the spot. Go.
Because I'm looking for more in chat. I'm sure they're going to come up, but I've got you 3 here.
I have to like when I set up a call or like a talk with somebody for mentoring type stuff, I have to like sit down and write out questions beforehand. Like I can't just come up with them off the cuff, and if it is something I come up with off the cuff, I can usually Google it or whatever, find it. But so that's a loaded question. I have no idea. What do you want me to ask you?
So here's the reason I asked. First, I want Misha and Christine to comment on this, and there's going to be a reason I did this. I promise you, there's a reason I did it. But Misha and Christine, what's your response first?
To him or to you?
To the fact that I said, ask us anything.
Oh.
Is Linux used a lot? Is it good to know a lot of Linux?
Yes.
Linux is really fun.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I like Linux.
All of us will give you the same answer. Yes.
It's easier than Windows, isn't it?
But here's the kicker, right? From a cybersecurity perspective, yes, because you're going to utilize Linux for a lot of your pen testing. A lot of tools and things will run on Linux. However, from an offensive perspective, you got to be able to break into Windows.
Yeah.
Windows still holds the keys to the kingdom for most companies.
Yeah.
So you have to understand Windows also. Linux helps you from a programming and kind of breaking into perspective of being able to use the tools. Understanding Windows will help you utilize Linux to break into Windows.
Okay.
It's kind of weird, but if you understand both, you're golden.
Yeah,
Mac is kind of an outlier.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to say, you also got to understand some companies rely heavily on one or the other. Some companies are heavy Linux backend servers. Some companies are heavy Windows servers. Yeah, so it really just depends. So it is important to understand both and use both, because you may run into both, and you can pick your favorite, but sometimes you may just end up at one or the other. You're like, oh, I love Linux, and then you get hired by a company that's Windows, and you're like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'm going to get good at Windows now. Like, it's just the way it is. Yeah. You're paying my bills now, so all right, I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brad, what about you, man?
If you're trying to attack where the user is, it's going to more than likely be Windows.
Yeah.
Infrastructure is going to be a mix depending on the organization. But you would see a lot of, especially cloud infrastructure, is going to be Linux. Whereas depending on the size of the organization, you're going to see Windows at some point. You'd probably be mixed in most cases nowadays.
Yeah, definitely.
So it'd be a good move to really understand the ins and outs of the Windows operating system and how to secure it.
Yeah. Because so here's my thing. And again, Bill, Griffin, Brad, Misha, anybody who knows anything about operating systems can really chime in on this, even in the comments, if you want to put something in the comments. For me, understanding both ends of the spectrum. So Linux does a lot. And a lot of industries, a lot of companies, especially in cloud and AWS, are using Linux AMIs. whether it's Ubuntu, Red Hat, CentOS, even though CentOS is kind of going away, but not, I don't know. I'm kind of confused on that whole concept right now. You know, they're using Linux. They're using a Linux kernel. So being able to understand that and utilize it and break into it and exploit it and do all these things is vital. But Windows and Microsoft Azure is still very prevalent. So if you understand Microsoft Windows and Azure and all these other things, it can only benefit you. Mac OS is the one outlier that, as security professionals, I find a lot more security people use Mac OS because the company provides it and then loads Linux VMs. The host OS is Mac. The used OS is Linux. So unfortunately, I'm on an M1 chip right now, so I got to figure out that whole nonsense and how I can go virtual with my own machines. This is why I love Windows, because I don't have to worry about that. But the M1 chip is kind of a whole different beast. But yeah. So we got one. Oh shit. All right, so we got 3. So first we're gonna put Sacred Goddess's comment up there. What would you suggest for someone trying to get their name and face out there in the industry? And we'll start with Bill, because you're to my left.
LinkedIn. I mean, that's like the answer everybody gives you, and it's true. Like you meet people, find somebody that you like what they're saying and message them, talk to them about it, and message Derek, get on YouTube, and yeah.
What, me? Lies, never. Misha, Christine, I know you're just trying to break into the industry, but from everything you've seen, because Misha, especially you've been following me and my channel and all the episodes for a while. What would you suggest for trying to get their name and face out there in the industry?
Well, I'm going to say obviously LinkedIn, and I think anybody that I follow here or follows me, I'm pretty quiet still on LinkedIn. But just being there and just commenting or even sharing posts has been enough just to get people to recognize my name, even in the chat, here in the stream. But connect with everybody here. You'd be surprised. I don't think I follow Griffin or Brad or anywhere, but I will when I leave.
You might, because Griffin is actually, he's been on the show. His actual LinkedIn is on a previous episode, so you may follow him and not realize it. But Griffin is not his name on LinkedIn.
Yeah. Obviously.
Like, just following people and reading through past posts or just past, like, in the videos, I've rewatched quite a few of our, even my own episode, and went back through the chat here just to see, things. And it sounds really dumb, but the only reason I met Derek is because, we were in a Norse pagan group together. And it just happened to be me going, does anybody here know anything about computers? And then it turned into this. So now I've met multiple people, and like I can see any of your guys' names, probably on the chat, and know where you guys come from and what you're doing. And it sounds really dumb, but I've been hunting like at my own job, but like I did today, it's reaching out, email somebody that you have a question about a job description, and tell them, just be honest. Like, look, I don't know what I'm doing yet, but tell me what you would tell me from your perspective in your field.
Yeah, and he got right back to you.
And he got right, yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome.
How do you think Amanda's here, Misha? Amanda is here because she's awesome, and I met her through one of our Discord servers, and I'm gonna throw it out there, the Pagan Project community. That's actually how I met her. So that's out there. If you want to go follow them, the Pagan Project on TikTok, and we have a website, thepaganproject.org. But that's how I met her. So that's why she's here, because we talked and she does OSINT and red teaming. Though she doesn't know she does it, that's what she does. OSINT and investigations and finding things out that I can never find out. That's her bread and butter. Like, that is golden, great for social engineering, great for everything she does. I could probably, I'm trying to link her up with Corgi to get more into that side of things, because that's what they do. Brad, what would you say to this question?
I think, and I fail at this sometimes, but consistency. And so what I mean by that is brand consistency. Come up with a brand, whether it's your name, yourself, and be consistent across the board. And when the other side of that is, if you're going to say that I'm going to post X amount of times, do it, right? Don't stop. And I'm preaching to myself here.
I missed a podcast episode on Wednesday solely because I was
wondering.
Dude, look, it's recorded. I recorded it Tuesday. My laptop couldn't handle the workload, so I could not edit and post it on Wednesday.
The dog ate your homework.
It's coming next week. I'm gonna do it. I already got it recorded. It's already done. But yes, I get it completely. If you say you're gonna do something, fucking do it.
And the other part is a lot of people say, well, I have to get this type of camera. I have to get this type of microphone. Just start. Like, you'll get there. Just start.
I'm using my laptop camera. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I got a Logitech Brio and a microphone that is definitely not I literally paid. I don't even know what I paid for this. I just know it wasn't a lot. It's not a broadcast mic. And I know that because I get the echo anytime I pull it in.
I mean, I've got the chat pulled up on my phone, so like, it's do what you got to do.
Everybody loves it. Guess what? The people that are here, they're here for the long haul. So, fuck it. You're all my family. I don't care. Griff, what about you, homie? What's your take on it?
Yeah, so I'll shift, since everybody else has mentioned Discord or LinkedIn and whatnot. Is go to in-person stuff. I mean, there's so many local conferences. Besides, we have a local conference here. You don't have to just go to DEF CON. There's plenty of conferences in different areas that are local or relatively local to wherever you're at. I promise, if you look. So find those. Check those out. There's I think I mentioned this before, is like meetups. There's so many groups, so many places, so many ways to meet up with people and connect and create those connections. And I mean, I've recommended that to a friend of mine, to go to the local conference and go to the after hours. And it was just a dinner thing, but still, it was after the local conference. They met some of their friends there. Sure enough, they got a job offer and they got a job. Like, it just happens. Like, just do it. Go meet people, go talk to people, go to these conferences, go to these meetups. I guarantee there's some sort of security or IT or whatever meetup group in your area. Check it out. Sorry, you got to get outside your comfort zone. But that's just that's just how it is.
Yeah, definitely. And so I will say one thing. And I got two more questions. We're well over the top of the hour. Just so y'all know, it's my show. I don't give a fuck.
Cheers.
So I do have one here, though. I got a gentleman, fully raw 1991. There's nothing in his area of Melbourne, Australia. I will say this. I put it in chat. I'll say it again. Start it. Start a B-sides. Start a meetup. Start a group. Start something. Make it part of your community. Make it part of your area. If you don't start it, it's never going to get started. So start one. It doesn't have to be anything. It doesn't have to be anything major. But B-sides and B-sides events, dude, go global. There's actually, I think they are global actually at this point. I think there's some in different countries across the world. Bring one to your area. Talk to them. Make it happen. B-sides is vital to our community. It really is.
Have you ever talked about how B-sides started?
No, I haven't. I actually don't even know how B-sides started, to be honest.
So it's a company I work for has a fairly close relationship with it. is one of the founders of our company was one of the visionaries originally for B-Sides. So B-Sides started as DEF CON and Black Hat started to turn into sales and marketing events.
Yes.
And so you would only get the top talent, right? Or people that were not doing it anymore. They were just there because they were a face or a name. And so they had the idea to create an alternate conference, B-Sides, like the B-Sides of a record, that was for the people actually doing the work, for the practitioners. And so B-Sides is very clear on when you submit a talk that it cannot be a sales presentation, right? It has to be something that you are doing the work. It's research you've done, a topic of interest, and even some B-Sides. B-Sides Nashville, Tennessee, they did a blind CFP. So you submitted the topic without them knowing who you were. And so it's about the idea, not about the person.
I like that.
So B-Sides is really, really cool.
I like that. I like that idea too, because you will see a lot of bias in names and who you are and everything else. But if you just see a topic, then you either accept it or decline it. There's no in between, so they're not basing it on anything. I like that idea. That's
not all of them do that. Not all do that, but that was one. Yeah.
No, but that's just I think that's a fantastic idea on how they do things. So yeah, for fully raw, dude, I ain't even get into that name. Look, it's my show. I'll say a lot of shit. We're not gonna dig into that. Yeah. Anyways, start your own B-Sides event in Melbourne, Australia, and it'll go a long way. I got 2 more questions, then I'm gonna get last words. First one, Jack, what do you think is the best way to explain to people that pen testing and SOC analysts aren't the only thing there is to cybersecurity? Big question. Because I've gone around the room before, we're going to go the opposite way. Griffin, you're up first, homie.
Oh, he's
the best way to explain it. I mean, those are, in a way, they're polar opposites, right? Your pen testing is your red side, your SOC analyst is your blue side, and you gotta realize that there's so many other positions. There's your GRC, there's your auditing, your purple teaming now. There's just so many other roles that that's just barely scratching the surface, and you really got to expand your horizons. Now we're stuck on me. All right.
You got a pretty face. It's okay.
Oh, thanks. All right. Who else wants to go?
You aren't paying attention. You all look at the bottom. You got to see who's muted and who's not, and who's actually in the chat. Brad, let's go to you, homie. What about you? What do you say to this?
So speaking of B-Sides, I actually gave a B-Sides talk last weekend in B-Sides Huntsville that's around this topic, where I'm going to turn it into this topic really quick. The talk was about the intersection of IT and security. And what I did is to kind of prove that there was an intersection, that IT had more of a role than what people think they do, is I took the CIS Top 18, which is just a framework that's not a regulatory framework, meaning it's just, hey, you should do these best security practices. And what you can do with that, and this is kind of an idea I'm coming up with right now as I'm talking, so it may not be fully fleshed out, is read through it, right? Read through that framework about how you should secure things, and you're going to find things that interest you. Right, you're going to find things that there's different things in security that you have to do to secure an organization. And we always talk about, everyone looks at pen testing because it's the sexy part of cybersecurity. But if you look at it from a risk perspective of how CIS lays it out, it's the last thing you do. Yeah. There's way more work to do before you even get to that point. And so
I'm bringing it back down to this solely because Misha finally brought the dog in, so we gotta have the dog. That was literally the only reason why. Not to cut you
Cat
off.
wanted it.
I
I'm
saw
sorry.
dog in image. I had to bring the doggo up.
The big one's on the ground next to me. So
So I would just
So
say
keep
read
going,
through. Yeah, read through something, a framework like that, where it's kind of an agnostic framework, where you look at it and you say, okay, this is what they say we must do to secure an organization. Where do the jobs line up with this? And find an area that sounds interesting, right? There's a whole area for identity and access management. You like dealing with people and their access, that might be for you, right?
Yep.
That's one way to kind of find it and see because that's going to tell you what the job may look like, what you're actually going to be doing to a certain extent to secure an environment, and would you actually like it?
Yeah, and so this is the thing: is everybody looks at the active jobs and they look at and I'm not gonna lie, SOC analyst actually comes after pen testing. Like a lot of people look at hacking and cybersecurity as I'm gonna break into things. It's big, sexy. I can do this, and I can like know all the things. But the reality of it is, people don't understand. There's GRC, there's SOC analyst, SOC or sim engineering. There's a ton of different roles out there. There's consulting. There's so many different things. Cloud security and a ton of different cybersecurity fields.
But the thing with that is how often is it that people don't realize that that's part of cybersecurity?
And that's the
all the time.
Things that I was like, oh, okay, you know what I mean? So that's well,
and I found Stacy from Hackers and Heels from watching your show.
Yes.
Joined her organization because she's amazing. And I just listened to an interview with her recently where her role in the company is insider threats, which is a whole thing in and of itself.
And that's the thing. You can make your own role. Here's what people don't understand. This is what I wish people would understand. In cybersecurity, it is one of the few fields that if you network correctly and people know what you know, you can make your own role. The roles do not exist for everything. You can make your own. People will bring you in, managers, directors, CISOs will bring you in based on your knowledge, based on what you know. I'm like, holy shit, you can do this? All right, you're coming to work for me. You're going to secure this side of my shit, and we're just going to come up with a term for it. We're just going to make some shit out of thin air. We're going to pull it out, and you're going to get paid X amount of dollars. Like, they will do that for you because our industry does not have rules for everything. It doesn't. A sim engineer can't engineer anything but a sim. But you bring in a SOC engineer. You bring in an automation specialist. You bring in an OSINT specialist. They will create fucking rules for you. They will literally pay you buku bucks and just make shit up out of thin air. Like, you know what? We're going to give them this title. This one right here. We're just going to... There it is. That's your job now.
Yeah.
I would say also don't assume the position is going to fall under a cybersecurity department.
It might fall under IT.
It might fall under IT. Especially early on in a program, it's all IT.
Yep.
IT, GRC. A lot of people bring in GRC even before they bring in cyber because they have to be compliant with certain industries and certain standards. So GRC is another huge one. So understand these things are big. They're huge. They're all different. And then we got one more, and I do want to get this up, and then I want to get everybody's last words. Let's say someone passes the interview process and gets hired. How do you measure their performance? How long do you measure their performance? I don't mean your company's probation period. I didn't know we had a probation period, but let's go with Griffin first. Go ahead.
I mean, yeah, obviously some places have a 90-day probation period. But anyways, besides that, you pass the interview and get hired. How do you measure their performance? So one good way is before they even get hired, you need to be prepared for that. You need to have why are you hiring for this position? what are the goals that you have for this position? What do you expect them to do? What are the jobs? What are the tasks, projects, etc.? So you need to have those kind of laid out and say, okay, first 30 days, okay, you get used to the company and you start meeting people, and you can start working on this. Then say the next 30 days, same thing, okay, you're going to work on these things. Next 30 days, okay, we're going to put it all together. That's a nice way to do it. Some places it's just here, go to work.
Chaos.
So
Start.
yeah, go. All right, here's 10 things we need you to do that we needed done yesterday. I've been in both situations, so it really depends on the company. But yeah, definitely what I mentioned first is more ideal. Of like, okay, we're gonna get you acclimated, and we're gonna get you your tools, and let you get set up and figure things out. And here's what we need you to do for this role. That's the nice way to do it.
I've got a different take, but we're gonna go to Brad first.
So it depends on the size organization, depends on the organization as far as how you go about this. The way I've seen work best, and happens to be what the organization I'm at now does, is you'll see companies have values, right? Well, most of the time they put them on the website and then they never talk about them, right? They're just there. They're just words. Is that if it's an organization that truly believes those values, you have the values, you have a bar of what they must meet, right? So whatever those values are, the individual must meet those, right? And then you measure them on those values, right? Because if your company says those are the values, the people should be meeting those values. And if they're not, then they shouldn't be at the company. And so you set the bar, you get them to meet the bar, and then if they're not meeting the bar, you figure out a way to correct that, whatever it is, right? And the best way to do that is to not wait for a yearly review, right? That's horrible, right? Because that means they've been messing up and you've been not trying to fix it within the year, right?
Yep.
So as a manager, talk to them every 90 days, have a conversation. Where are they at, right? Where do they need to get? Where are they struggling with? So that at the year mark, it should be a good conversation because you've talked about it every 90 days. And so some of that goes back to just good management. Obviously, if an organization may have some kind of performance indicator of some kind, right? Depending on what you're doing, if you're writing reports, right? How fast are you getting the reports out? Things of that nature. Some things that you can measure. But I think overall, it's about communication.
So I have two things to this. Well, maybe more. I don't know. I'm gonna rant, and then we're gonna do final words. So for me,
or SMART goals.
there you go. Oh. Yes, you said it. So I'm gonna say this: once you get hired, now I came into a team that was already established. I'm hiring my first person, but either way, the hiring of the person doesn't matter. I measure performance based on two things. One, are you doing the job that you were hired to do? So if you're a junior, I expect you to be learning. I expect you to be a backup, a shadow. You may take lead on things here or there, but you're still a junior. You should not be the sole person client facing, right? There should be someone else in there in between you because you're still learning that role. But that's because of where I lie. I lie in an implementation team. So my team should be able to deploy things, should be able to do certain things, but if you're going to be client facing, you need to be able to have those intelligent discussions. If I cannot rely on you to be able to talk to the client at their level, we're going to have a problem. And by at their level, I mean you have a project manager, you have maybe a CISO, you have a security director potentially, and a security team. Talk to the lowest level. If you cannot talk to the lowest level, me and you are going to have a conversation. We're going to work on your soft skills to develop that skill set. But after so long, if you can't develop that skill set, I cannot put you client facing. I can't put you in front of clients because you cannot talk to the client. because you're going to talk over their head. And I know people that will talk over even my head. Been doing this shit for 20 years and will still talk over my head. And I'm like, look, homie, break it down for me, please. Give me Marine style. I need the crayons brought out.
Oh man, that's real low.
I need a drawing. Like, you were saying some shit that I don't even understand. Like, again, I've been in this so long that I can't keep up with everything. So if you're bringing up a new topic that I've not researched and you're talking to the most advanced level of it, please break out the Crayola. Like, give me Barney style, give me Marine style, give me something, so we can actually understand. But I say that saying this. I measure performance based on two things. A, are you asking questions? So if you don't understand something, if you don't know what you're doing, are you reaching out to your peers that work within the organization, whether that be me, whether that be somebody else on your team that happens to know what they're doing and saying, hey, how do we get this done? If you're not doing that, that means you're not communicating. And communication is key within the industry. There's so much that goes into it. And then on top of that, look, just go for it. Like, put your all into it. If I know you're giving your best effort, that's what matters to me. I don't care about the company. I care about you and what you're giving to the organization. And if I think you have value, that's what matters. But anyways, Misha's internet went to crap. A lot of people, we are well over time. So
A little bit.
I wish I would have caught them beforehand. We're going to go around the horn, and we're going to go the opposite way. Griffin, give me some final words, man. What do you got for everybody trying to get into the industry?
Yeah, like I said, take advantage of all the free resources out there. Take advantage of all the networking you can, whether it's online or, there's plenty of online virtual stuff that's free, SANS, whatever. Take advantage of all that. That stuff didn't exist 10 years ago. Take advantage of it.
Brad, what about you, brother?
I'd echo the same thing. I'd also say we're at a point where we all know this is important. We all know cybersecurity is important, and this is a particular time, I feel like, in history where you can ride the wave, and you can have a career change. You just got to put in the work. So just keep at it.
Bill, what about you?
Just keep going. Just keep swimming. I don't know how to say it.
We're
on
boring now.
4,000.
Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming.
Yep.
Make the time and do it.
Yeah, and I love it because so many of my other warriors out there. For those that don't know, for those that are just like kind of just now tuning in, you're all warriors. You're all my family. It's the way I look at things. And so anybody that has a question, ask me, ask Griffin, ask Brad, ask Bill, ask any of us. If anybody turns you down from answering a question, come to me, because me and that person are going to have a conversation. Because this is what it's about. It's family coming together, pushing through, figuring it out, and actually making a difference. That is what we need to do, is make a difference. And we need to make sure everybody feels like and knows that, not feels like, knows that they belong, knows that they belong in this industry. They belong in what they love and what they're passionate about. And if you're willing to give up, then you weren't passionate enough, or your why wasn't enough. Those are two very important things. Your why has to be enough. Why cybersecurity? Why is that important to you? Why do you want to do it? It's vital to anything you do in life. Know your why. But saying that, I love you all. You are all my warriors. This is my family. This is what I love to do. This has been Security Happy Hour. We are at 4,000 subscribers, and we're on the road to 5K. So please share, like, comment, all those fun things. And I will most definitely talk to you all, just next week. So I'll see you all then. Later.
Cheers.